You know, we were born out of the Great Awakening. But then there have been other things that historians have called awakenings. And I love the Star-Spangled Banner, but the first verse is a question. And if you don't sing the last verse, you didn't get the answer. Does it still stand?
Yes.
So the last verse says, one of the lines of it is, praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph does wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. You got to sing that song. In my meetings, we sing the last verse. Yeah. So God made us a nation out of an awakening, and then he preserved us a nation in other awakenings. And those awakenings, we have the second awakening, the third awakening. One of the great awakenings is this one. And it began with the New York City prayer meetings. Every awakening. You don't need an awakening. What case do you have to be in to need an awakening? You need to be asleep or dead. So then what would happen in the United States is they'd have a great awakening. I mean, where the power of God was all over the country. And then backslide, you know, or get cold or go to sleep. And then the people would start, God would move on the people to pray. And the people would pray fervently, and God would send an awakening. And this is one of the most amazing ones, called the New York City Noon Prayer Meetings. And it actually began in a church that stood where the Twin Towers stood.
Right.
In New York City.
Yes.
And this is the story of it. I tell it right here in this book. And at that old Dutch church, which at one time there'd been a lot of, you know, just families around there, and they moved all away. And in this area it became more commercial and in industry. They hire a man by the name of a layman, but he's a man that known of prayer, Lanpier, Jeremiah Lanpier. And they hire him there he is, to get people to come to the church. And so he goes out and knocks on doors in all this industry, nobody much interested. He wears himself out. So at noontime he goes to the church and prays, and he gets a refreshing. He has a touch of God. And so he said, why don't I invite them to come and pray with me? So he printed up handbills, and he said, maybe somebody else could get refreshed. So he announces the first meeting on a Wednesday. That's why we have Wednesday noon prayer. At noon on Wednesday, come here at the church and we'll pray. Prayer meeting from 12 to 1 o'clock, 5 or 10 or 20 minutes. So the first day he goes up there. He's all by himself for 30 minutes. Then he hears steps. 6 people come. The next Wednesday, 20 people come. The next Wednesday, 40 people come. It's not very long until the whole city of New York City, all the churches, all the people are having prayer all over the city. The press gets a hold of it, and they get hold of it in Philadelphia at Jane's Hall, and they have thousands coming out. Even in New York City, they had to have prayer meetings in the theaters. The churches, the theaters, everything were taken on by this prayer meeting. And these prayer meetings spread all across America. All across America, there was an awakening to God. And then out of this comes an awakening that comes before, as a result of this. And the power of God, the presence of God was so strong in America that you could feel it out at sea. 100 miles out at sea, they'd come close to America, and God would come on the boat, and the people would fall under the power. And they didn't know what was happening, and they would radio in, send us a minister. And all the presence, the holy presence was there. And all of these, every one of these awakenings is the presence of God. And not just the presence. That's what happened in that prayer meeting when he was up on that, and the 6 people came and the 20 people. When they got in that room, there was the presence. If you don't have the presence of God, Moses said, I'm not going anywhere without it.
Right.
I just won't go. But people have church all the time without any presence. But anyway, my message to you and to us is, if we do what they did, we can have what they got.
Yes. Yes.
If we do what they did, if we will pray, we can have an awakening to God. We can have a presence of God in this country that's not just like a revival, But it's been prophesied. People know it. You know it in your heart. I know it. I've heard Brother Hagin prophesy it. Sister Wilkin prophesy about it. We have the seed in the ground in America.
Yes.
We have the prayers. I believe that if we can get people praying, first of all, I mean, when you get down to pray, you praying first of all for our leaders. And of course, that's going to lead you to praying for America.
Yes.
And praying for an awakening.
Yes.
We have to have it. It can change. You know, here's how things are going. But just like God told Brother Hagin, you can change it. This is what's going to happen if it's keep going on this way. But you can change it through prayer. And so we have authority as believers. I teach a lot on authority as a believer.
Yes,
I have written books about it. I'll come back and tell you about that one time.
Yeah, oh, you have to.
But
I keep your little white
that
one.
little one.
I keep that in my purse.
I sit up there in
Yes.
my chair every single day, and I take authority over that devil.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, America can be saved. America will be saved.
Yes.
America will know its destiny.
Yes.
And we will have an awakening to God.
Yes, amen.
And we will be one country, one nation under God, indivisible.
Amen.
Because the presence of God is the unifying factor.